Mayan Flower asks,
how does Korea view teenage pregnancy? Are there any teenage moms and dads in Korea that you've seen? In North America and Central America, I'm Guatemalan, there tends to be a lot of teenage parents.
This is a pretty awkward topic.
Probably because we're not South Korean teenage girls.
Yeah.
Though.
Also, we didn't grow up in South Korea. We've only been here for about 5 years.
So in those 5 years, we haven't actually seen any teenage pregnancy. And the reason why might be because according to Wikipedia statistics, because Wikipedia is so reliable, amongst developed countries, US has the highest teenage pregnancy rate and South Korea has the lowest. I think it's like 2 pregnancies in like 1,000.
South Korea and Japan are down there,
Yeah,
right?
South Korea and Japan are really low there.
Yeah. And this kind of goes hand in hand with our experience because I was a high school teacher at an all-girls high school for 3 years. And in those 3 years, I did not witness any teenage pregnancy nor heard any rumors of these things happening.
In my middle school, I didn't see any pregnancy either. But back when we were high school teachers and high school students in Canada, we did notice a whole lot of teenage pregnancy.
I think you might have noticed more than me because I think I only knew one girl in all of my high school career that was pregnant.
Really?
Yeah.
I taught one class in which 3 girls were pregnant.
Really?
One class.
How about when you were high school students?
Lots of girls pregnant as well.
Really? Perhaps it depends on the area you grow up in.
Pickering represent. Okay, so we can't tell you exactly why teenage pregnancy is so low here. That's not really easy to answer because I'm sure that there are a whole lot of factors that play into there being very low pregnancy rates here in Korea. The number one factor being that teenagers in the West have been poisoned by the devil and God has turned their backs on them, and as a result, he has bestowed his graces upon South Korea and doesn't let them get pregnant as teenagers.
But seriously, as to why there might be a low pregnancy rate in Korea, but this is just our kind of educated discussing guess.
There are a whole bunch of factors and we're just going to talk about a couple that we might think are relevant.
I think the first and easiest factor is that Korean teens don't really have the time to date or have sex.
I don't even think that Korean teenagers have the time to eat anything. They go to school from like 7 a.m. to like midnight a lot of the times. Where do you have time in there to make a boom boom jiggity jiggity?
Where do you have time to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend? You don't even have time for part-time jobs. So I feel like if you're constantly in school, going to one school to a study school after program, and then you're getting on a bus and going straight home, when do you have time for anything?
Back when I was a high school student, I was finished school at 3 p.m. and I had the rest of the day totally to myself. And there were a lot of things that I could do there, like play chess.
Chess is a good one.
Yep.
We could join after-school clubs that were not at all unsavory.
Or join an orgy.
Okay, well, I hope that didn't happen.
Pickering represents.
Okay, alright. And even when people are in school for that long, you might think like, well, I'm sure they could sneak out and do things, but honestly, the teachers keep a really close watch on them.
Oh, yes.
They will call the parents and report if the girls are putting on makeup in the washroom. So for example,
no joke,
your girl is putting makeup on, I think she's planning on skipping her after school study class to meet up with a boy. The Hagwon teachers will check to see who's checking in and if they're late or not. So there is kind of like
Big
a
Brother is watching you.
Yes.
The second factor that we think is important is that even if you find time somewhere to make the boom boom jiggity, you can't find a place to do so.
So in North America, you tend to have houses and you have like a lot of space. Like you might be able to hang out in the backyard or like have a pool party, or people have house parties.
I had an entire basement to myself when I was in high school, for example. So I had that level of privacy. But when it comes to like apartments in South Korea, because a lot of people do live in apartments, it's not really like you have that much privacy in there.
And there aren't really house properties with like fenced off
Barely any, unless you're ballin'.
Exactly.
Unless you're ballin'.
Yeah, so most people really do live in apartments, or they live in smaller houses where you can hear your neighbors and everyone's around, and you might even be living in the house with your grandmother and grandparents. Like, it's very family oriented. So
the point is that if you could find a way to sneak in your boyfriend and girlfriend, then what are you gonna do? Where are you gonna go? Like, your family's there. There's no privacy. Like, you're not gonna like put on a performance unless that's your thing. But I really doubt that as a high school student, you really want to be doing this in front of your family.
So where are you going to do it? In a 24-hour coffee shop? I don't think so.
Well, there are some places. There are like love motels that you could go to, and there are DVD rooms in which people don't actually watch DVDs.
We do.
Well, now that I found out what people do and all the juices that might be going around in DVD rooms, I don't actually go to DVD rooms anymore. But the whole point is that
I thought the stickiness was from Coke.
The whole point.
I thought it was melted chocolate.
It's possible. You can find a room. It's just not as easy. You don't have as much privacy in South Korea as you do in like North America. So basically 2 factors. Number 1, you have no time. Number 2, you have no space to actually do it as a teenager in Korea. And as a result, it's kind of difficult to get pregnant if you don't have any place to actually do it.
Now this last point, I don't really think it has completely to do with teenage pregnancy, but it's something that's really socially different than what we experience in North America.
Right.
Sex education isn't really a thing here. You don't have that awkward class in like high school where the boys and girls are separated and the poor gym teacher's drawing a picture of like a womb that looks like a spruce moose.
The Dodge Ram.
The Dodge Ram?
If you looked at the Dodge Ram logo, it looks like
the ovaries and stuff.
Ovaries, yeah.
The brovaries.
Never look at Dodge Ram the same way ever again.
So like they don't really have that awkward sex ed class where they talk about different forms of contraception or like how to be safe or talk about STDs. While we were in university in North America, they had a lot of stuff about like sex education, like posters about going to get tested or if you're dating someone that you guys should get tested or like different contraceptions or like birth control. Like they were always telling people like, be careful.
While in like South Korean universities, from the people that we've spoken with, they haven't actually seen any of that stuff on campus. So the whole point of this is that we're not necessarily sure if there's low visibility when it comes to sex ed because there's low frequency of it or because Korea is very conservative and that's why it's like still very taboo to talk about, but we think it's kind of relevant to talk about at least.
Yeah, I feel like it's a combo of both of them because even if you look at Korean media like movies or Korean dramas or even in K-pop, you don't really see a huge amount of sexuality happening. Like
I'd like to see the Korean version of Game of Thrones.
Oh my god, can you imagine? Whoa.
That ain't making it on the air.
There's no HBO equivalent network in Korea.
Now all these factors combined isn't to say that South Korea doesn't experience any teenage pregnancy. It does. We just haven't actually seen it ourselves.
But when teenage pregnancy does happen in Korea, Susie told us that there was a documentary on teenage pregnancy in Korea and the issues they go through. But we're going to talk about that on our blog post.
So make sure you check that out. So that's it for this week's TLDR. If you have a question that we might have more experience with for next TLDR, leave your question in the comment section below.
Or check out the questions that are already asked and you can thumb them up to draw them to our attention.
And don't forget to subscribe for more TLDRs where we talk about things that we barely know anything about.
You said subscribe.
Because I say it quickly. Subscribe. Sexuality.
Oh, Junsu.
Ding 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 ding.